Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to On Loose Lines Live. We'll have Kerryn Manning coming on the show very shortly. I just had to wait to get a clarification from her just then, but she will be on the show. Just give me a sec while I update my Facebook feed. People get me confused for not being organised. Unfortunately, what I have to do with on loose lines is give myself what's the best word, another filler so that I can get these things sorted, because you can't actually get this screen that I've got set up at the minute until I go live. So yeah, it's a little bit of a frustration talking trotters. I have a minute and a half actually of what the hell of his three of his better wins. So don't forget the hill standing at Woodland State. Actually, while we are going there, the stay tender for Horsham closes today. Get in touch with Tony Logan, 0427 857 411. That's the Horsham and District Harness Racing Club. So get in touch with those guys. If you're interested in getting a service fee at a discounted rate, get involved in the show. Have a couple of questions if you like. Do you think Bulletproof Boy should have gained a start in the Victoria Cup this week after his emphatic? Well, not emphatic, but it was a great win. 152 and 3 the other night at Melton, winning the Smoking Up Sprint, a form guide, a lead up, if you like, to some of these better races. He's a two-time winner of it. He was 100th of a second outside his career best, which he actually set 2 years earlier in winning the same race. And yeah, look, I understand it's a tough one. I put the question out there, and someone said to me, I can't sit on the fence. I sort of can sit on the fence. I won't, but I can, because my argument is that if you win the Smoking Up Sprint, surely, unless it's something happens, which nothing happened, everyone had their opportunity of beating Bulletproof Boy last week, you should nearly be rewarded for being into the Victoria Cup, I think anyway. He's a winner of $468,000, $480,000 in stakes, Bulletproof Boy, and the winner of actually 36 races, I think he's won. Yep, he's getting up in age and all the rest, but look, he's in form. And Scotty Purdon, good evening to you. He would have done a terrific job. The other question that's been raised to me is about these double header meetings that we did have last week. We had the trotting night, and then we had the pacing night, and I know it's been brought up and been mooted around with the Great Southern Star and Hunter Cup night and the likes, showcasing the trotters. We have a mare like Queen Alida that was on the support card the other night. So yeah, I think it's Ben Wiedenbach. You're a South Australian, but no, everyone's entitled to their opinion, so don't worry about that. But because we had two big metro meetings, the trotters almost got forgotten about. I won't say they did, because there were some good races and the likes, but once upon a time the all trotting night was something to behold and savour. Is it now? We need to have our best trotters, Queen Alida, the locomotive. I've forgotten the filly's name. I know it was Rocking with Attitude, who actually got beat by this filly, but should they be entitled to be on that same night as the Smoking Up Sprint? I know this week we got the Victorian Trotters Oaks, which is huge going forward. So just a question to put out there as well, and get people's thoughts going into the show, because yeah, I want to get some feedback and some information from people as to what they are like to see, and we're all entitled to our opinion. Everyone's got one. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Whoops, wrong button. I had my audio up onto the YouTube feed. But yeah, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, give me a ring and go for there, and type the message in on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, you want to watch this in replay. If you want to go back to certain sections of it and watch it in replay, or watch it later, it's so much easier on YouTube. Go to Campbell's Comments YouTube page, hit like, hit subscribe, and it'll be so much easier. With all respect to Scott and Bulletproof Boy, would have been massive odds in the field. Sorry, don't disagree, Michael, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think our game is too screwed around the punt, if you like. The romance of a horse like Bulletproof Boy. I'm not saying he could win the Victoria Cup. What I'm saying is, does the horse deserve to be in the Victoria Cup? He's a 9-year-old now by Artificial out of a Red River Hanover mare. He's given people a huge run, and if we're not allowed to dream to get into some of these races, I don't know. He beat last year's Miracle Mile winner. Don't disagree with you, Michael, that he would be big odds. You know, Catch a Wave ran 5th to him last start. So yeah, Joe Pace. I wonder if he's meant to have said hi, Paulie, or he just said Paulie. Maybe he doesn't agree with me. I'm not sure. Going forward, it's a great field that they've got. Someone has to miss out. My thoughts would be, though, that something like the Smoking Up Sprint would then generate these carnivals that New Zealand have got. So they're sort of 6-7 weeks out still from the New Zealand Cup, and they're wait till I highlight the New Zealand meeting on Friday night coming up. They get there. Of course, Hi, My Name is Jeff is the easy one to pick out there because he hasn't raced in the elite company yet. He's beat some nice horses in New South Wales recently. He hasn't, from what I can see, won a group or listed race of any note. So he definitely is the easy one. You know, it could be a bit controversial though and say maybe Mac Dan. He's won the Newcastle Mile. That was a little while ago. Perhaps he could have missed out. Captain Ravishing, I know he ran 3rd in the Eureka, but he's been lightly raced. He's a 102 rater. So, you know, yep, he brings that intrigue, but so does Bulletproof Boy. So would the gate speed of Bulletproof Boy. So that's my take on it. It's a very interesting one. Someone suggested that a more Vita, to me, there a bit earlier on my other feed, suggested that a more Vita shouldn't be in. Totally disagree. She's a class mare. She's the second best mare in Australia. You have to say that on fact and figures because of Encipher winning the Eureka, but she is a very classy mare and adds a lot of intrigue, and I think it's an easy shot to say that after she draws 7. If she had to draw 1 or 8, she'd be a blowout chance because she's a high class filly. So yeah, nothing against any of those horses that I've mentioned there before. I think it's a super field, like Better Eclipses Flying, Honolulu Bay, Hunter Cup. So you've got the Kilmore Cup winner, the Honolulu Bay is last year's Hunter Cup winner, Rock and Roll Do, the reigning Victorian Cup winner, plus Maryborough, and I'm going to get the other one wrong, but anyway, that's okay. Leap to Fame, best horse in Australia. Miracle Mile winner, Amor Vita. Mac Dan, as I said, Newcastle Cup winner. Hi, My Name is Jeff. Won his last 4. Captain Ravishing 3rd in the Eureka. He was also Derby winner as well, going there, and I think he made the Hunter Cup field as well. Act Now, super horse, possibly not the best draw for him. Encipher, of course, the Eureka winner, and Spirit of St. Louis by Sweet Lou. Absolutely flying. So yeah, it is terrific. David Lawrence, why can't we have a mixture of gates on both of those nights? That's exactly what I'm saying, David. I think it was something novel for people to have back in the day, where we just had a Trotters night because it was something different. So I don't disagree at all with that, David. I think those days are the novelty. Let's honour these horses, because I think Queen Elida, the Locomotive, even a horse, like I said, with Rocking With Attitude, you know, she's won 2 Oaks and 2 Derbies this year. She's a 3-year-old we have to celebrate. She got beat. Not worrying one bit about that, but she still should be celebrated on these bigger nights, the nights that are marketed to be these big nights. And thankfully they've done that this week with the Victorian Oaks, Trotters Oaks, as well as the Victorian Pacing Oaks. So yeah, I think it is actually great. It doesn't matter what age or who trains. He deserves a run before Jeff, and Act Now, my own opinion, was in the same boat with Supreme Dominator. He won the Cranbourne Cup and was first emergency. And this is the problem that I can see with it. We want to keep people in the game. We need to keep the game growing. You know, big kick in the guts for Scotty and his owners to have horse low flying, a time-honoured race. You don't get too many opportunities to have a go in these races. He's won the lead up. He's in flying form. He's in form. A couple of horses coming back from spells and that going forward. Yeah, and you know, there's 140. There's what is there, 1,120 raters, and then there's two that aren't 120 rated race horses. One of those is Captain Ravishing. They all talk about the X Factor. They haven't started him since Eureka. I know they haven't started in Cypher either. So anyway, that's up for those guys. When Bulletproof Boy has met his class of field, and this class of field, he's been left wanting. Don't have a problem with that, Jeff. Again, I'm not saying he's going to win. The romance of this sport is not always winning the races, and you know that as well as I do. It's being able to get dressed up, go to the races, and have a horse on the big stage, and enjoy the build-up and the reward you get for doing these things. So, yeah, I don't agree that he may be in trouble against that field. Hi, my name is Jeff. Hasn't reached that field yet either, Jeffrey. So, you know, you can't turn around and say, oh, he'll hold his head high just because all the talk is that he's going to win the race. You know, I don't think he can do that. So anyway, going to get Kerryn Manning on the phone, but keep those comments coming in. But we're going to catch up with Kez. Hopefully she answers it. Sometimes she doesn't.
Hello.
Hello, Kezzy.
How are you?
Very, very, very well. We are live, so don't worry one bit about that. Firstly, how's the roast going?
I'm trying to peel potatoes with one hand, and it's not very easy.
I hope you got the AirPods in then, otherwise you're going to be in all sorts of trouble with trying to do that any other way, that's for sure. Firstly, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I feel a bit better today. I've been a bit sore all over for the last few days.
Oh, have you gone? You back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Very good. Okay, we've got you back. Tell her not to shout. Maybe I heard you too loud, Kezzy. Didn't see that. I'll keep an eye on that. Sorry, Joe. You just...
That's a first. Never been told that before.
Not to shout. Yeah.
I usually get told for mumbling.
Especially coming from Joe. Joe's been known to shout a few times. Don't worry about that. So I could remind Joe of one night that me and him might have got into a shouting match. So don't worry about that. We can give him a bit of cheek. A broken wrist, unfortunately, is the official diagnosis.
Yes, fracture.
Some reason keeps cutting out. Wonder what's going on here. Oh, bet you I know. Kezzy, are you there now? I might do. I just might ring Kez back. That could have been, I had a little thing going in there. Hopefully this is better because she could hear me.
Back again?
Yeah, and hopefully you can hear me better. I actually, we've got the video, but I might not be able to show the video, Kezzy, I'd say, because we're going to have a little bit of a glitch. I'll show the video after you, after we hang up on you. But yeah, sorry, you were saying that you've got a fractured wrist?
Yes. Yeah, Sunday was so sore. I went to the hospital. It was swollen and black, and they confirmed a broken wrist. My shoulder was equally sore, but they tried that. No breaks there, but it still feels like it's broken.
Yeah, and you showed me a picture of your shoulder. It actually doesn't look all that nice. Very, very bruised. But I might try. We'll see how we go, and then I might. If the audio cuts out, Kez, don't stress, because I'll actually try and show people the video of the. Actually, before we do that, we'll do it this way. Surfing makes sense. The filly, firstly, you got the vet report back from her today?
Yeah, Ballarat vet called in on their way through, and she x-rays showed no fracture of the knee. Then they worried about how deep the wound was into the knee joint, but it missed by, as I described it earlier, 2 B6, and just missed going into the joint, so that was really good news. So she's just on antibiotics and penicillin and wrapping and boxed for a good few weeks, and hopefully we can move forward after that.
It's a bit of a shame, actually, because she just started really finding her form. She was an emphatic win at Bendigo, albeit against lesser opposition, but through the Vicbred and that, she really started to, probably grow into herself, Kez.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, that was probably the most disappointing part. Straight after I was a bit down and out because I actually thought she was good enough to qualify for the final, and was probably as good as most of the horses going around in it. She just has had a few troubles in the past and steering issues, and she just seemed to be on top of the game right now. And of course, this had to happen to her. So it was a bit of a shame that the one in front of her galloped and checked us, and she just didn't know how to gallop. She's such a good gaited horse, but once she galloped, she just crossed the legs and down she went.
Right, I'm going to flick the video up. I've actually got to change the screens. Go to that one for a second, and we'll put it over here, Kezzy, and it is going to play. Effectively, there was a horse that had already galloped in front of her. That's Kerryn out the back of the field. If anyone's watching this, she's the last horse you can see there in the picture as we speak, and she just copped a little bit of interference from the horse in front of her.
Yeah, yep. And I had to pull her to the inside, and she was just a little bit keen and didn't want to steer down the track a little bit and just got off balance. And, that caused her to roll out of her gear.
It's a nasty looking fall. One of the problems the mare had was she has a head check on. Anyone watching and wondering, I'll show it again just so people can appreciate, you rolling and getting out of the way. You were very lucky, Kez, unlucky to break your wrist, very lucky to get out of the way. You continued to roll to make sure you missed it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was going so quick. I had a lot of momentum up, and it was lucky nobody was behind me, really. That was usually what causes most of your damage. So I was unlucky, but lucky at the same time. Yeah,
and then the mare, she actually, hello to you, Tyler. The mare had a high head check, and what looks like she's a bit of a beached whale, if you like. There, she was actually okay once the head check got off her. She was able to get up to her feet pretty quickly, albeit the race had to be called off.
Yeah, she was a bit cast upside down. She was a bit stuck, and she broke the tree of the saddle actually landing on it. So she once we were able to get her rolled over, and she got up, and she just stood there like a lamb after that. I think she might have been in a little bit of shock, like the driver.
They happen quickly. That was in slow motion, so they do happen quickly. Yet your thought process is in slow motion, I suppose, if that's a right way of putting it, Kezzy. Like when you're driving, I've been in a couple of falls, and you sort of know exactly what's going to happen prior to it. Did you get that? Were you aware that, this is going to get ugly, or did it happen very quickly?
Yeah, when she galloped, she was okay for maybe 5-10 metres, and then she put this big leap in, and that was one of those ones where you know that you're in a bit of trouble. She went, and I knew I was just going to have to try and hopefully make a safe landing, but I sailed over the top of her. I saw her pass underneath me, and my first thought was my back, which I'd broken maybe 3 months ago. So, this is going to hurt. And then, just feels like a minute, but it's only a couple of seconds. But yeah, just a matter of how you land and what you land on. But I was lucky that I didn't do too much damage. I jumped up, saw her stuck, and thought I better go back and help her, and then thought, that hurt. But anyway, we both got out of it pretty good considering.
Your back, got to be careful. You have got 3 cracked vertebrae in your back. They're not. It's hard to explain, I suppose, but they're not in a bad position, if that makes sense. So you're cleared to drive. Was that your initial worry when you were getting up off the ground? You're thinking, "Oh, my back." Was that your first sort of response?
No, actually, my shoulder just hurt, and I hit the ground first, and my head followed, but as hard as I usually hit my head, and it just sort of knocked the wind out of me altogether. And only a bit later, I realised my hand was hurting just as much as everything else. So I got in the ambulance and sat down. So yeah, my back should be all nicely healed up now. But yeah, it was just a thought I went through my head straight away. But yeah, luckily, I could have done a bit more damage, but
It is.
I'd rather have a broken back. It's easier than a broken wrist.
Well, a broken back is easier than a broken wrist.
Oh, yeah. I could do all sorts of things with a broken back, but if you lose an arm, everything's very hard. A lot of the things you take for granted, like peeling potatoes, is very hard.
Jeffrey Dixon's saying here, hope Grant's doing all the housework. Kez, I don't think that'll be happening. I know that they both actually share the housework, and they're both pretty hard to put up with, Jeffrey. Don't worry about that. They set a high standard as far as that goes anyway. So going forward, Kez, you said there before you have a bad habit of hitting your head. It would have been this time a couple of years ago. You'd done your nose, I think, as well. It would have been. Was it around this time of year that you unfortunately came out at Melton again and busted the hooter?
Yeah, that maybe 3 or 4 years or more. It was on the first turn at Melton Boys Talk. 11 broke my nose. After I just had it fixed, so another broken bone. But I have saved most of my broken bones for later in life. So it's come into the habit lately, though, unfortunately.
And it's people can turn around and say it's as you get older or your reaction time, but it's just the way the accidents actually happen sometimes. I mean, the one where you broke your back, at the end of the day, you didn't actually fall out of the cart. If you had fell out of the cart, you probably wouldn't have broken your back. It's just sort of that little bit of a run you're having at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. That was a bit just unlucky that I landed upside down on a shaft. If I had fallen out, like you said, I don't think I would have done too much damage. So it's just of how you land, or bad luck is how you land. So it happens so fast. You can be ready for anything, but these things happen.
Yeah, 4 weeks with the wrist all going well. That's a prognosis.
Yeah, that was the prognosis. Doctor, I've got to get an appointment with the osteo guy and all that. And they're waiting for them to call me and go see them just to double check and maybe do an MRI to see what's going on there. But it's not just placed. I can't even see the fracture on the X-ray, but it's just disproportionately to see. I think the cast's got a little bit loose because I've got it wrapped up. Some vet wrap to keep the bandage clean, and it makes it a little bit firmer. So I've got pink on today.
Don't you're not allowed to scratch it either, remember?
Yeah, it's very tempting. I haven't had too many itches, but just a couple, and they do drive you mad.
There is I've unfortunately done forearms in my time, and you don't want to do one in summertime. Wintertime is a lot better because you just got to keep it warm. Summertime, trying to keep it cool and keep it is not ideal. Kezzy, everything else, so you are a world champ. You're the most leading female driver there is going around. You're not retiring anytime soon, I gather?
Probably not. It's hard to get to us harness racing people to retire. Grant, if Grant had his way, I'd be retired, but he's certainly stepped up to the plate for me this last week, and he's out working horses again when he can between the jobs. So credit to him. He's been wonderful. So I'm lucky to have good people around me to
keep you going. You also got you got a pretty good brother-in-law too, really, haven't you?
Yeah, he pops over when I ask him. So, thanks, Louis.
Tyler Dew says there that you drove at Ascot Park in Invercargill. That was a few years ago. That was from memory, I reckon it was Chris Elford, Anthony Butt, I think, and there was someone else I reckon went down all the way down to Invercargill. Did they not? Did you not?
That was Mars weekend. I've been a couple of years. That's a good fun day.
Yeah.
So getting there is not quite so fun. It's a bit of a journey, but we always have a good day there. A few times we've been.
Yeah, and once you get down to the bottom of the going there, Tyler Dew's put Bellman and then Lang. I'm not sure. Maybe I asked a question, maybe I didn't. Not sure exactly what that means. Oh, Mick Bellman and Gavin Lang. Is that who went with you?
I I can't remember who went the first time. Gavin might have actually. I don't remember Mickey Bellman going, but
No, that's
don't quote me on that.
Tyler's pretty good on his form. Don't worry.
I do have a bad memory.
Yeah, you and I both. It's okay. It comes with age. Tyler's a lot younger than you and I, Kezzy. Don't worry about that. And I'm a lot older than you, so we won't worry too much about that one either. So that'll be that part will be fine. The rest of the team, how are they going?
Not too bad. Yeah, there's only 6 races. Still working 2 babies, so probably not a bad thing at the minute. Well. I can't do a lot. I'm doing what I can to help, but I'm very slow. But yeah, got keeping and tipping over is the main thing.
Got Michael Gadsden on. Mick's been having a good run too. Formerly was in Ararat. He's not now, but Charlton Knight. But he was there before. Just before I let you go, Kezzy, we've been doing the More Than the Horse, and the other day I actually got to do a teeth. I forgot the name of the mare all of a sudden. I know she's by American Ideal, and she's out of what's the horse's name?
Ideal Assassin.
No. The yearling filly.
Oh, the yearling. Sorry, Lakey. Yeah. On the crest of a wave.
On the crest of a wave, and she's there. It comes around pretty quick, doesn't it? It wasn't that long ago that On the Crest of a Wave, or Lane as she's more affectionately known. I knew her as Lane. I couldn't get the rest of it out. It wasn't that long ago she's racing. Now you've got her back in the stable, and she looks a lovely type.
Yeah, I really quite like her. She's a cute little thing. She's not overly big, but she has actually grown quite a bit since she's arrived. She's up jogging 2 laps now, and yeah, paces along quite nicely. So she's got a really good attitude. So hopeful. She's got a mother's ability, hopefully.
No, absolutely. All right, I'll let you go. Tyler Dew says, I reckon Kerryn, Alford, Bellman, Lang, Justice, Caldo all came. Unsure if it was the same year or one after the other. So anyway, but yeah, I do remember that year. Craig Judd is actually on. Craig Judd's going to be part of the menu segment a bit later on, or Ben Studd actually are, but they also bred and raised that little filly. What do you call her?
Lakey.
Lakey.
It's a good surf as well in America. Lakey Peterson.
Ah, okay, very, very good. And of course, she's related to the filly, unfortunately, who tipped over and hit the ground. All right, Kez, thank you. Have you finished doing the potatoes yet?
No, I had to go outside to get better service. So out here, it's yeah, I'll go back to that now and struggle all along.
Very, very quickly, do you think Bulletproof Boy should have been in the Victoria Cup? If you win the, put it this way, if you win the Smoking Up Sprint, should you be not guaranteed a start, but you should be very, very closely to getting a start in the Victoria Cup a week later?
Yeah, I think so. He's been low flying the horse. He's never far off the mark in anything he runs in, and yeah, I think it's a shame he didn't get a start. One
of the comments I had here that he wouldn't be able to win, but it's not always about winning these races, is it?
No, that's right. Yeah, of course, in a good race, it's a big thrill to be there, especially for the littler trainers who don't get the opportunities that often. So certainly he might not have won for sure, but he might won. He was never out of it, that's for sure.
Have you ever won the Victoria Cup?
I don't think I have.
You ran second with... Did you run second with Amaretta?
Yeah, I did my friend Gail's wedding, and I actually filed with her. Yeah, she ran. I trained second place to get it up. That's not too bad.
That's not too bad. If you could have one drive in the Vic Cup, throw you under the bus, who would you drive this year?
Goodness, I love Leap to Fame.
Leap to Fame.
Yeah, he's just awesome.
Yeah. No. All right.
Not that none of the others are, but yeah, he just stands up.
Yeah, he's a lovely looking horse too. So yeah, does a good job with him, Granny Dixon. Kersey, thank you. Take care. We will. I'll catch up with you somewhere anyway. But yeah, just take it easy for 4 weeks. Go and get your other scans. Hopefully everything's good and you're back at the racetrack soon and driving more winners and giving some more cheek.
Thank you. And not pulling out. That'd be good. Thank you.
that actually is probably the better one to do. So yeah, thanks, Kezzy.
See ya.
Kerryn Manning there joining me, and yeah, the service was a little bit scratchy from time to time. It can be good there, but yeah, it was playing up. Was definitely playing up tonight. But yeah, a nasty tumble the overnight. A little bit insignificant. The wrist was sore, but wasn't actually a worry for her. But yeah, later on the next day she woke up and wasn't good. And then yeah, unfortunately she X-rays showed that she'd cracked her wrist, and then if you didn't catch it, her shoulders tickling her a little bit as well. So hopefully she'll be on the mend. She's just having a bad run at the minute, and you can have those runs, and yeah, just the slightest little check, and it went from there. She's actually watching now, so she's coming back to make sure that I say nice things about her going forward. Yep, that's fine. So Gail, Chris, all the best, Kezzy, and I think there'll be a lot of people saying that too. And you can, if you fire them in, your comments in, Kezzy will see them. And as I say, if you want to go back and watch this, watch it back on YouTube. Heaps of people watching. Get involved with your comments. Should Bulletproof Boy have been in or not? Probably the other question I should have asked Kez, is it now time, because the trotters are starting to make more of a voice? We don't have these stand-alone all trotters nights. We put them on with the big nights to complement the Smoking Up Sprint. To have Queen Elida, Mufasa Metro striding out like they did the other night. As I said, Locomotive, I think that's his 7th group or listed race that he's been able to partake in. Win. Sorry, not even partake in. And then, as I said, Rockin' With Attitude. And I've got to get that other filly's name. Its name's Do, owned by the Halls, bred by Ashley Haynes. The mare now resides at Benstud Standardbreds. I could tell you everything about her, but I cannot for the life of me remember her name. And I'm not going to get it. I'm actually going to tell you, is it wrong race? She's Ruby Roo, of course, is the horse I was trying to think of. But yeah, you've got all these lovely trotters. And then you've got other trotters on there. Harry Stamper, Joe Pace was part there. That was a $20,000 race. If they complemented the other meeting, yeah, I don't think too many people would have had a complaint about that. I think the other thing too, that same night, I'm just getting it up on my computer, I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, Mildura raced that night as well. So you had lots of trot meetings here in Victoria. Anyway, that's okay. Give me your thoughts. Should we have standalone trot meetings as much? I mean, Redwood Day definitely, Redwood Carnival definitely has to be. Yep, see Craig Judd, he's in there. Rightio, so I actually asked, I forgot this part. Man, Kez, when I was looking for photos, I went on the internet to look for photos, and I said, there's one of a Wonder Woman. She goes, use that one, please. She likes his photo. She's very, very impressed with it. If you want me to use the Wonder Woman photo in future when I do the Kezzy, yep, that's it. I'm sure she would have liked the golden lasso as she was going down the other day, that is for sure. But it's a cool photo. I apologise, Kez, forgot about that one. I did upload it, just forgot to put it up there. Rightio, stable stud news. Now, I asked for people to get involved last week with the in the show and promote their stable or studs, something that's happened, something that's happening. Use the yes, Scale Crisp. She's disappointed that he didn't get a start either. Use this platform to promote what's going on in your stables. Now, the team at Benstud have got involved. Now, Benstud, of course, breed horses everywhere. This is Saturday night at Melton. So the main race meeting probably here in Australia, because I think that's fair to say. There's been the other meetings. I've got plenty going on, but not quite as much. This is a list of their runners. So all these horses have been bred and owned by other people. So Mona Miss, Robbie Orber, and owned by Rob Orber's Syndicate, sorry. Petulante, this is race 2. This is a Somerset Farms Make My Colour. It's a good field, actually. They bred Petulante, Tay, Treachery, Tough Tilly. 4 horses there, owned by other people, but yeah, all part of that. there. The race 4, the Catnack Jewelers Trotters Oaks, of course, she's Ruby Roo. The horse I couldn't think of, all I had to do was put that sign up there. The Bill Collins Mile, great race there. RC Phoenix, of course, owned by Ashley Haynes, and the likes. Just so you do know, she's Ruby Roo is out of Princessa Ruth, and that is, of course, Ashley's name. But then we go to the big races. The Pride's Easy Feed Victoria Cup, and they bred Catch a Wave and Captain Ravishing, so bred on the properties of both the Sydney and Melbourne areas. The Woodland Stud Victorian Derby, Oliver Dan by Better's Delight for the Sloys, Petrarca by Captain Treacherous for Bruce and Craig Cameron, and Perfect Class, who Kez would have been driving, again for the Gleasons, and Sam Stewart all take part. So 3 horses there in the Derby. And then they also have 3 in the Oaks, albeit one is an emergency. Of course, that is Ideal Assassin for Greg Bedial. Kerryn Manning drove that horse in the race before. But Sierra Breeze and Elijah J, all going around in one of the big nights of racing. That is exactly what I want people to get out there and use. Campbell's comments on Loose Lines. It's not sponsored by anyone. It's a show that I do. That is what I want people to be able to use this platform for. Promote your product. Tyler Duke, you're in Invercargill, mate. If you've got something going on down there and you want it to be done, if you want it to be done, and you can put it in the comments and I'll make sure I highlight it. But otherwise, give it to me early enough and I can do these sorts of things so people can sit up and see what is going on at Ben Stud Standardbred. So thank you very much to Trace and Craig for reaching out to me and asking me if that's what I was after, and that is exactly what I wanted. So thank you very, very much. It is the Victorian Derby. I'm going to have a good look at the Victorian Derby in a minute because it is sponsored by Woodlands and I have my hat on there. But just don't forget the Horsham Stay Intended to What the Hill is still going today. It closes today, but I don't think it's closed just yet. If it has, Tony's just going to field some phone calls anyway. So 0427 857 411. Give Tone a call. 70%, so it's about 5,400. You probably need to put a little bit more in if you want to win it, and go from there. And then the other one, and I have my Harasta Trotters. I put my head down too quick. Head down, Victorian VSTA Square Trotters Association raffle tickets. Now this is huge. Harasta Trotters have come on board. Almost $15,000 in services donated to the VSTA, Victorian Square Trotters Association. You can win a service fee, so $30 a ticket. For $100, you can win a ticket to EL Titan, Honor Street, both standing at Cobbity Farm, Classic Connection, standing at Somerset Farms, Used to Me, and Always Ready, both standing here in Victoria. So basically, get in touch with any of the guys. So there is an email. I should have got the email address and put that up. Look, if you get stuck, give me a call. Otherwise, people like Anne-Marie Conroy, Mick Barbie, Louise Toolman, Ian White, Katrina Fitzpatrick, Katrina Knight. There's definitely someone else all tied up with the VSTA. Huge opportunity. So basically, you pick your ticket, you get drawn out. You only get one. I believe the terms and conditions, you will only get one. So if you've got a heap of tickets in there, once it's drawn out, I think that's it for you, but don't quote me on that. You nominate who you want to go to. If that horse is still available, you get that one. Then after that, I think they contact you and go from there, unless, of course, I suppose if you're the last ticket out, you'll get the horse that's left. But I wouldn't be worried about any of those. Of course, EL Titan, standing for his first season at Cobbity Farms, now on a streak on his second season. Classic Connection, he's been here for, I don't know, 2 years. We've got a beautiful filly out the back, out of Lucinda Mack, by Classic Connection. He's standing his first season at Somerset Farms. And then Used to Me and Always Ready, both eligible here in Victoria. The Platinum bred Always Ready because, Pure. He will be Vic bred Pure. Bonus eligible because he stands in Victoria, raced in Victoria, bred in Victoria. But on those stay-ins, you also get the double up of the New South Wales breeders bonuses for the 2 trotters, EL Titan and this horse on a street at Cobbity Farms. And then Classic Connection in Queensland, you get that $14,000 first bonus win in Queensland, plus you're eligible for the Vic bred and I'm coming back here as well. So you get that double whammy, and it's pretty exciting actually. So you can get two bites at the cherry. They'll be getting more and more Queensland race, New South Wales racing. They're definitely trying to. They did the carousel and a few other things just recently. So go from there. Open class trot in conjunction with an open class pacers race, and it was great viewing. Yep, absolutely, Jeffrey. And I think it was this. It was almost a novelty. I remember when it first came out, and I thought, geez, this is great. You know, the trotters have their own standalone night, and I think they probably still need a few of those. But potentially the other night may have just got a little bit washed away, if you like, with what was going on. The two trot races this week, you know, they complement and improve what is a massive meeting for harness racing. I'll actually swap over so people can see. Basically, the Ride High Vic Bred. Ride High is actually still available too for people in Bendigo. 70 to 79 rated race. Rebecca East actually asked a question there before too, and I must get that one out. I will in a sec. The Somerset Farms, the champion mare in Make Mine Cullen. Got the chockies there as well with all of those. Got a great field of horses going around in that field. Cameron Hart picks up a drive for Emma Stewart. So Jess Tubbs and Alex Ashwood and Diane Giles, who is an emergency, are the only three. The rest are Emma Stewart mares, and of course they've got a Moore, Vita and Encipher. So they nearly could have had a lockout. They possibly, Tay may not have been a lockout at any stage. So yeah, that's scary thoughts. Popular Arm 3 for all, what a champion Poppy is. And I see Tim's a trooper down here, a horse that I've got a real soft spot for as well. Then we've got the Victorian Trotters Oaks, Rapid Return, Al Marvella, Rockin' with Attitude, Dichotomy. High Energy has already been scratched, so hopefully everything's okay there with that horse. She's a Wish for Neville Pangrazio, Nathan Jack. Hopefully she's all good as well. They're not on at the minute, otherwise I'd ask them. Aldebaran Miley, she's Ruby Roo, last start winner. She's Bella for Graham Rogerson and Dylan Ferguson, and I'll touch on those guys in a second. Sequence, Tradie Lady, Virginia Clowers for Arna Donnelly, got the chockies last week, which was great. And Glamour Stride, who jumped it off last week in what's a ripping Oaks field of some really, really classy fillies and some of the best 3-year-olds going around. A couple of the boys, but a lot of these fillies would have got a run in a 3-year-old race at Melton ahead of quite a few of the other boys as well. So really ripping field. The Bill Collins Trotters Sprint, Queen Alita was just outstanding and has been for a long time. She was awesome last week. It was an interesting drive. Chris really got a fit, wound her right up, so it'll be very interesting as to the plans with this mare, of course, with some races being announced in New Zealand, but also then the opportunity potentially to fly to the Elite Lot if that is on the card. Olivici, Sleepy, RC Phoenix, an up-and-coming horse for Ashley Haynes, Mufasa Metro, I'm Ready Jet, 1 overall for Greg and Jess. Got it wrong in the Kilmore Cup, but good to see him back on track. Bullion Harry, and then Queen Alida. Bullion Harry was second in the Kilmore Cup just before that. The Woodland Stud, great supporters, great sponsors of mine. The Woodland Stud Victorian Derby final is going to be a really, really interesting race with a few of the favourites drawing out the back. It's going to make for an interesting race. The Real Sherlock had a nice return to form the other day. I'll get to you in a sec, Dave. I'll just keep going through these horses for a minute. There's the Vic Cup field, classy field. As I said, I wouldn't like to have anyone to have missed out. I just believe Bulletproof Boy on his win the week before deserved to be in. The Victorian Oaks final, first dance was awesome last week for Greg and Jess. Sweet Bella's been terrific for Emma Stewart and Bruce Edwards going forward. Pretty in Pink, Elisha Jane, VM McRae, Jess and Greg, they're doing a great job with a heap of horses. Clinton McSwain, I'll get to you too, if you don't mind, in a sec. Major Delight, Kiang Blue Jeans, Chinchilla. I'm actually going to Chinchilla, leaving Sunday, so I'll be in there very, very shortly. So that is a great race, and then of course there's a trot at the end of the day, which has got some really, really nice horses in it as well. So my argument is, I think those meetings now, as compared to the standalone meetings, are just as good. We will go back. Okay. Polka dot for Lizzie Heath and Robbie Morris will be wearing, when possible, white ribbons in her mane to highlight lung cancer awareness. One of her owners has been diagnosed with the same. So, thank you, David. Polka Delight, that horse is. We'll have a look at New South Wales form in a minute and just see if she is in. And Clinton McSwain, and you're entitled to your opinion. Just my opinion, but shouldn't the Vic Cup be the last major race of the night and have the Oaks prior? Traditionally, everyone leaves after the main race of the night. Vic Cup, hence the Oaks, not have the atmosphere it also deserves. Don't disagree with that one bit. Clinton, it might be just your opinion, but I think it's probably very, very sound opinion. I think we need to change the way we market it. Do we need to have 10 races on? There's another question. Do we need to have 10 races when we've got such great racing going on? The last race is at 10:40. Just trying to find the first race. First race is at 6 o'clock. So 4 hours, 40 minutes of racing. Do we really need that? Or can we drop off a couple of those races? The last trot race is a 7-horse field. We run one of those most weeks. Do we need to actually have that race? And then, as Clinton has said, then swap the Vic Cup and the Oaks over, and then maybe have one race afterwards. I was at Cambridge last year with the Grins, and it was the last race. The atmosphere was outstanding. People were buzzing, and people hung around because they didn't need to go anywhere. The people, the winning connections or the connections with horses, had to go and do those things. Matty Feast, good luck to you with Sherlock, the real Sherlock, or Sherlock, depending on where you come from. Good luck to you. Done a great job, Nathan and the team, getting him back after missing the Vicbred final due to a foot abscess. So they've done an awesome job. So good luck to you. But yeah, I think definitely. I think they're the sorts of things we need to keep putting out there, Clinton. I don't think it's anything derogatory. I think it's a great point, and I think we need to capitalise on those sorts of nights and those sorts of days as well. Yes, Joe, I will be going to the New Zealand Cup, but it's not for a couple of weeks. It's actually, the way it works out, it's in the middle of November this year, simply because of the way everything falls. So the Melbourne Cup is on the 7th of November, and then the New Zealand Cup is on the 14th. So it is one of those ones going forward. David Miles, this actually was one of my other questions. Give me your best scam text. I did delete it because you don't want to go into them. You can come with me, Joe. I can't fit you in my suitcases, but that's okay. David Miles is concerned about your appointment and your results. Got a scam text the other day confirming my gynecologist appointment. And I saw the funny, so I'll put it up on Twitter. I don't put those sorts of things on Facebook, but I did put it up on Twitter. Just a little bit tongue-in-cheek about it. Let me know your best scam text, if you like, that people have gone and found out about it. Jeffrey Dixon and Rogers Horse. Yes, you're right. Got a few things going on here. We might ring David Miles in a minute. There's actually a scratching. Zarem's actually scratched out of that race. I want people to go and watch 6 o'clock tonight, race 6, tonight at 8:33. The Neville Yardstad Trotters Handicap, but Love Me Too by What the Hill steps out tonight for his first time. The Northern Derby winner in New Zealand is a brute of a horse. He's ready for game time, they've said. He's taken on the older horses. He's a class horse. He's a super class horse. He's a beautiful horse in himself as well. So it'd be great to see how he fronts up tonight, getting ready for the Derby. And interesting there that Joe Pace was saying about the Am I Going to New Zealand Cup. Of course, 2 weeks prior to that is Kaikoura, but I won't be going to Kaikoura this year because it falls on the same day, exactly the same day as the Redwood Carnival and Victorian Trotters Derby. So chose to stay back for the Trotters and go from there. So it's always one of those juggling ones, but I am looking forward to being under the New Zealand Cup. They've got some great meetings. They've got a Grand Prix meeting coming up, so they have the New Zealand Cup and Show Day. That then rolls into the Grand Prix. Then they have some Christmas racing through the grass tracks leading into Christmas, which I won't be going to. But then I will be at Central Otago from about the 2nd through to the 7th, and a bit of a stopover into Auckland as well. So looking forward to it. Bringing a bit of everything, because yearling sales will have started by then, and a few other things. So yeah, make sure you get involved there. I've got to make sure before I do what I was about to do. I must say I want to highlight the Derby Field, because sponsored by Woodland Stud. They do an awesome job for me. They do an awesome job for harness racing, full stop. They sponsor plenty of races. They're sponsoring the first race on a ripping card on Friday night. Tyler Jew, you better give me some tips for Friday night at Addington. We'll put you under the test there. But that is a cracking Derby Field, of course, sponsored again by Woodland Stud, Group 1 event. So they will go from there. The New Zealand Trotting Oaks in between Cup Week and Grand Prix Week 2. Am I going to that? Hot dogs, there's one I didn't know I was doing. New Zealand Trotting Oaks is in between Cup Week and Grand Prix Week as well. So that must be the week after. So Emily's all over that. I am going to highlight that meeting, Tyson. I'm struggling to get there, Tyson Barton. See how I go. But I'm struggling. Anyway, that's okay. He's a picnic rider. I should get Tyson on one day just for something different. Apparently I'm not going to that one. Well, I could keep trying, don't you worry about that. Emily, Joe Pace and I would both like to go to the New Zealand Trotting Oaks meeting. How does that say? Just telling you, it's an interesting meeting. I think the meetings going forward are outstanding. While I am talking with Woodlands, you're welcome, Tyson, and I'm going to catch up with you. Don't worry about that. Sweet Lou just keeps getting the job done. Australians, unfortunately, he is booked out, so we can't go to him. But in the US, he is second in the all-aged, behind Better's Delight, first in the 3-year-olds, and second in the 2-year-old sires list in the US of A. This is Sweet Lou. He's a sire of Confederate, Cannibal, and It's My Show. 3 of the best 3-year-olds going around this year. And then Geocentric has made 500,000 as a 2-year-old. I think she's 9 from 9, Timmy T, in the cart, and pretty sure she's owned by Diamond Creek as well. In Australia, he's 4th overall on the size, 2nd on the 3-year-old list, and 3rd for the 2-year-old list, with Never Ending, winner of 400,000, Australia's 2-year-old of the year in 2022 for the boys. He got a treble at Menangle on the weekend. And then in New Zealand, he's 3rd on the 2-year-old sires list, 2nd on the 3-year-olds, and 4th overall. So make sure you, Emily, you're going to be in all sorts of trouble here. Make sure you, if you're in New Zealand and you want to breed a horse, we can't get any more in Australia. He's fully booked. He's booked out for 2 years. So make sure if you're breeding in New Zealand and you're not sure where to go to, the Aussies will be keen to get one. I don't know if Joe Pace has bought a Sweet Lou yet, but there's a few of them going around. I'll tell you what, this horse here, he'll be high on a lot of people's radars, that's for sure. Mark Hurrell in the cart for Craig Ferguson out in front. This is a little horse called Wag Star. Goes around in a much better race on Friday night, and I will get to that in a minute. But what a cracking horse this horse here is, and he is a son of Sweet Lou. If I can find him while I'm talking about him, it'd be handy. I know there he is there. He's had 6 starts, I think, or 5 starts for 3 wins, 2 seconds is actually what he's had. Son of Sweet Lou out of Sunny Two Shoes, a live or die mare. And this was just an arrogant win. First up for 4 months, and he is going to win a lot more. He's in a classy field on the weekend, but yeah, Sweet Lou getting it done everywhere. So make sure you get in touch with the team at woodlandstud.co.nz. Where is that? I haven't got my little button pusher, which is very annoying. Don't know where it is. There's the stadium prices. Their full list of horses with Better's Delight, Down by the Seaside, Speeding Spur, Sweet Lou, What the Hill, American Ideal, and Lather Up, all going around. Right, got heaps to talk about. Joe Pace will carry my luggage. I think that's pretty good, Ems, because I do have a fair bit of luggage, so he'll actually be doing a bit of work. So I don't think that would be a bad thing for him to do. Give Dave Miles a call and just see how his little filly has pulled up. I wonder how many other people do this as well. David is in my phone as D Miles, with a space, and It does get to be very, very confusing and annoying sometimes. So we'll get him on the phone. I have to actually change that. But
Hello, Mr. Campbell.
David, how are you, my friend?
Very well, Squire. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, it was good. It wasn't quite as painful as I was expecting, I must say. So I was a bit, I was a little bit happy with the end result. So it was all right. So yeah.
I thought there might have been a Nigerian prince with $1 gazillion there offering to help you out.
No, it definitely wasn't. Now tell me, you surely have had one or two odd ones that have probably come across your phone.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I can't think of some odd ones. I've had some really good ones. I actually had one from the other day that I swore looked 100% legit. But they're getting better at it. You've got to be very careful. But no, I can't say that the gynecologist one. I can't top that definitely. But there is a line there. You have been called a thing a few times, and gynecology and that might go hand in hand.
The one-arm bandit.
We'll keep it PG though.
Don't worry. The one-arm bandit. She dropped a couple of. She turned it into an M-rated show there before, so you don't have to worry too much about keeping it PG. So
I missed it. I looked in a bit late. Did you have Splat on? Did you?
Splat. She's actually still watching. She's actually saying they're not as annoying as peeling potatoes one-handed. I was giggling at that too. There are certain things you just don't realise that you do with one hand or the other. I must say, Joe Pace.
You're making this very hard to keep it PG.
No, you will keep that one PG. You definitely will. You will behave yourself. I've had Michael House on this show before, and I had a lot of people very, very nervous. You will behave yourself. I can control you a little bit better. Looking forward to that too. That's New Zealand Cup time, but that's okay. Joe Pace suggested that I shouldn't put you on because you'll give me hell. Then he also suggested you're not going to New Zealand as well. So he reckons he's got an in with Emily. He thinks so. Yeah, so he's all right. He'll turn it into adults only now. He's probably not bad. Right. Let's try and square this up a little bit. Rocking with attitude, Dave. She was terrific again the other night. I know she got beat, but you must be proud of what this man's been able to do for you.
Yeah, she ran another PB, mate. We all know when we have real good juveniles and been lucky enough to have a couple that eventually they catch up to you. And when she ran, I think she ran 1.2, and she got beat. And not only did she get beat, there were 2 or 3 pressing at her heels as well. So it's just a fact of life that these other horses catch up. We are absolutely blessed at the moment, not only in the pacing ranks but the trotting ranks, but the fillies are just running off the charts. The Locomotive has been absolutely outstanding. He won very convincingly, very easy in 57.7. We went 56.1 with the fillies. It's you think sometimes you're keeping your horse to fillies only races and it's making it easier, but it's definitely not easier, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I said with that Oaks. If that was just a 3-year-old race with the same stake money, there'd be over half that field of those fillies would enter. I've got no doubt about it. Whereas normally you might get 1 or 2 standouts. You think of back to Mickey Blackmore's mare Claudie's Princess and Greg Sugars' filly, who ended up winning the Derby that year. But they were sort of Illawong Moonshine, Illawong.
Yeah, not sure about that one. Pink Galaz, I think, won the Derby, so she did a good job.
One. Yeah, but I remember Greg and Ross winning it, and I'm sure it was with one of the Illawong horses. Anyway, someone may remember, may not, but you don't tend to get 4 or 5. That's the case now, isn't it? It's been amazing the last couple of years. The depth in the fillies is just outstanding.
I remember going to the Lexington sales over 20 years ago. I'm not showing my age, but the highest price average for horses was all out. And that was because it was the smaller group of horses. They raced for pretty much the same money, and you had a bigger chance of getting a return on your money for a trot and filly. Well, I think that might start to be the case in Australia in time. You know, at the moment the paces still sell a bit better, but I think that's a changing landscape. And you know, to be honest, after what we've seen here the last, 5 out of the last 7 years, I reckon the fillies have been better. So maybe it's not the easiest races to win, but it's a smallest pool of horses.
Yeah, it is. Now, it's actually interesting, Dave, you said that. Now, I'm just going to make sure that's the wrong one. Gate and Sex. This is the one I wanted. So, I got this banner up. I've just got to actually change my... doesn't matter. I've changed it anyway. 2-year-old trotting fillies sold... This is at Lexington, so this is you show your age, but this is how it's changed. They actually sold more. There was 265 2-year-old fillies sold, trotting fillies. This is sold at Lexington. They grossed $22 million at the sales. This is just the other day. So it's amazing how it has turned. And you say we might catch up. We'll never catch up because it's exploding over there as well. And people realise these fillies are the way of the future because you get the double dip if you like. But every day, the 2-year-old trotting fillies outsold every other gate, with the exception of day 5. And there was 43 pacing colts and 35 fillies and only pacing fillies and only 27 trotters were sold. 27 trotting fillies were sold on that day. So every day they outshone every other gate at Lexington. So it's amazing how it does change.
Yeah, and it will change here. It's the trotting gate, the trotting industry, the breed has improved here over the last 15 years. There's, blokes like Duncan McPherson and Pat Driscoll, they've put their money where their mouth is and really made a big statement. And good luck to them. And now we see on the international horses, not only just keeping up, but competitive. What we see with what Just Believe did. Zeus the other day, he looks like he's going to be there until he comes home in another month or so. And it's good money and it's worth taking the trip. So it will change here. I really do think it will. And if people don't keep up and you don't have a trotter in your barn, well, there's 2 races a meeting you can't win.
And some the way they're going. I've got 3 questions to ask you now. You've done that to me, so it's okay. This show just goes forever. Clint McSwain, he gets away with calling me Mr. Campbell because I will belt him when I see him. I only threaten to belt you. I will actually belt him, so there's no stress there, sure, at all. Plus he was referred to the gynecologist, I think, as well. So okay, let's stick on your filly for a minute. And Saturday night, one, are you happy with her? You'd have to be wrapped with the draw, but are you happy with her and where she's at?
Yeah, I was still. She was better in the heat than she was in the final this week. We're still sort of having a bit of hamstring trouble with her, but listen, she seems a lot better this week. She's had all the machines on her that she can have that we can do for to make her feel as good as we can. If she runs as good as she did last week, the extra 400 metres or 500 metres won't make any difference to her. She's still, in my eyes, the one to beat. I haven't done any replays yet on the Ferguson horse, but obviously they don't bring them over unless they've got a chance. We've had a bit of luck with Ruby Roo drawing the back line. I think the one might be able to hold my back and hold out the one, which puts Ruby Roo through the fence. I actually had a look at the odds today, and I thought that Neville Pangrazio's filly was way over the odds. I think when she's right, and obviously I know they have a lot of issues with her, but when she's right, she's not that far off my filly at all. So I think we're the horse to beat. I think we deserve to be favourite. We're 40% of races are one in front, and that's where she'll be. So I think that I'm still pretty happy that we can bring it home.
I met Dylan Ferguson. The first time I met Dylan was actually down in New Zealand for Grand Prix week, I think it was, and they bought She's Bella down. They've got a very high opinion of that filly. As you said, they wouldn't have bought her here. They've obviously bought Love Me Too, who goes around tonight as their main horse, but this is a high-class filly as well. You're happy with her, so that part's a plus. Righto. I've got more than 3 questions. This could go forever, knowing you and me. Should Bulletproof Boy have been in the Victoria Cup? Off the back, now I don't want you to turn around. I actually put the post up and asked people to turn around and say, who should miss out and all the rest, because sometimes it's easy. My thoughts are, when you have a feature race the week before, it shouldn't necessarily be you win and you're in. But if you go 52-3, beat the reigning Miracle Mile winner, I think you're nearly entitled to think you're in the Victoria Cup.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I read all the comments on Twitter and Facebook about how he was disappointed to miss a run, and yes, I tend to agree he's unlucky. But I put this to you. Let's just say he draws an even barrier of number 4 or 5. He probably goes around at 50-1, and if that's the case, is he a winning chance? I'd be more upset if I thought a horse got left out that was a winning chance. Now, the horses that I saw on the list that were, maybe or maybe not deserving a run were, a horse like MacDan. Now, MacDan had a drawn barrier 4 probably in front and then leaders back, and he is a winning chance. He's probably a winning chance from barrier 8. Act Now has cemented his spot. Listen, I don't know who you leave out. That's the hard part. There's always horses that you can leave out. Now, only the market can tell you who now that the barrier draws are maybe not winnable chances. But I would have thought that Bulletproof Boy probably would have gone around 50-1. If he draws barrier 1, he might go around 10-1. But we're looking at the outs of the field. MacDan's $41, Act Now $61, Spirit of St. Louis $61 because he's drawn 13. If you put Bulletproof Boy in any of those spots, is he going to be a lesser price? So while I think he is unlucky, yes, and it's a flip of the coin. Was I surprised he was left out? No, I wasn't.
But don't you think the romance of our industry, we are losing? Or I've got so many people on from New Zealand, and we're going to get to New Zealand with you in a sec. They have standing starts. They still have them. Their greatest race is a standing start event. Every second year, it becomes a schmozzle of a start, but they stick fat. They have it as a standing start. In our in harness racing here, especially right at the minute in Victoria, we seem to have lost any sense of romance, if you like, in and around it. And when you have a horse in form who is a 120 rater, he goes 100th of a second outside of his previous PB. He's a 2-time Smoking Up Sprint winner. He's winner of 36 races and $500,000 in stakes in form. I know what you're saying. You're looking at the dollar turnover and things along those lines, but I worry about the direction our industry goes in sometimes with these suggestions. So what happens to the Smoking Up Sprint next year, Dave? This year,
it should be an exemption race. That just takes all the stuff out of it, all the conjecture out of it. So if it's an exemption race, well then 100%. And yeah, it's a lead up race, and people can say, "Oh, geez, he beat Catch a Wave home," but Catch a Wave's won the Miracle Mile this year.
Yep.
Was off the charts the other night. His sectionals were great. Unfortunately, I'm not looking at it as a money value. I'm looking at more a form perspective that unless Bulletproof Boy drew barrier 1, he was probably always going to start 50-1 or more.
Yep.
And if that's the case, how many other of those horses were going to do that? Now, if MacDan drew barrier 1, he'd probably go around, $6 or $7.
He's gone again. He just drops out every now and then, Dave does, unfortunately. He's got a new
Oh,
wife.
and maybe I'm looking at it from an odds perspective, which might not always be the right way, but I completely get that he's unlucky, and I 100% say that the winner of that race maybe should have been an exemption race, but it wasn't. And, therefore, I just don't know how he beats those grand circuit horses. And getting back to what you say about the New Zealand Cup being a stand-start race, and I look at the Melbourne Cup, every year we hear of horses that have been handicapped 2 months prior that have got in under the weight. That's the intriguing factor of the Melbourne Cup, and what makes it interesting is that it's a handicap. The New Zealand Cup, who's going to step? And that's what we've lost with the Hunter Cup. Now, I'm a stand-start advocate. I really do believe we still should have them, especially at the Country Cup level, once the horses are educated and going. And I think they'd make better betting races. But unfortunately, there are people at a higher level that disagree with us.
Yeah, but back on to exactly what you're saying about getting into the handicaps and not getting into the handicaps. We'll take Captain Ravishing, Hi, My Name is Jeff, and Bulletproof Boy. Okay, so, and don't get me wrong, I think Captain Ravishing deserves his spot off the back of the third in the Eureka. But if there's some doubt that they may or may not get into that race, if we put the Smoking Up winner in this year, next year we could have another 2 horses vying for 1 spot. So instead of Hi, My Name is Jeff going around at Menangle, he has to come down here. And then we talk about this betting turnover. So don't take this the wrong way, Dave, and I know you won't because we have robust conversations. You're saying we won't get the same betting turnover with Bulletproof Boy in this year's Victoria Cup. But do we increase our betting turnover on the Smoking Up next year? Because all of a sudden we've got Hi, My Name is Jeff, Captain Ravishing and Bulletproof Boy all vying, 3 horses vying for 2 spots. That's...
Yeah, I'm not actually talking betting turnover. I'm talking actually pricing the horses, which, as horse people, sometimes we obviously overestimate our horses.
Oh, yeah.
But the tab market is a really good reflection of where horses are ranked and where they're rated. And handicappers rate them different, trainers rate them different, drivers rate them different, and professional punters rate them different as well. And they'll bet overs and unders and whatever they do. But I just, in my opinion, and it's only opinion, and everybody's got one, is that I couldn't see Bulletproof Boy winning that race unless he drew barrier 1. And no disrespect to him, Scott airborne, and he's been a warrior. Now you make it a stand start instead, and you put him off the front, and horses like Leap to Fame have got to give him 20 metres. 100% he can win the race. 100% he can win the race. It's a completely different. But we're talking a Victoria Cup, not a Hunter Cup. But as I said, you asked me, was I surprised whether he missed out? No, I wasn't. And who do you leave out? Hi, My Name is Jeff is a very interesting runner. He has run good time at Melton. He's won a good race at Melton and in good time. Jason's obviously got him at the top of his game, and he has not that you should be picking horses on trainers, but he's proven over the last couple of years that at the top level he can do the job. But I still don't think you should be picking a horse on a trainer rather than it's just on what it's done. And he's broke 50 a couple of times at Menangle. He's the interesting runner. I would have thought that he would have probably been the first one out for Bulletproof Boy, but as we've mentioned, you can simply change this up and make it a...
Keep dropping out every minute, unfortunately, Miles. He comes back, so that's okay.
Yeah. Captain Ravishing was nominated and didn't go round. Had he gone round and won Saturday night, we wouldn't probably be talking about this. Had he had every chance to beat Bulletproof Boy, he might have got run in front of Captain Ravishing.
Yeah, exactly. Right, one other question that I've thought of and want to get people thinking of, all Trotters Days. You're old enough to remember when there was only the one. In fact, I don't know, are you old enough to remember when even Redwood Day wasn't an all trotting day, Dave, or not?
Yes, Paul, unfortunately.
I said that nicely. But
there's no way of saying that nicely, Paul.
but hey, don't worry, I was too. Well, clearly I was. But now, like after Friday night, do we need to probably look at how we do market these days? Was Friday night, you were there, do we do horses like Rockin' With Attitude, the Locomotive, Queen Elita, Justice, by putting them on the night before, where it doesn't get the same promotion? And I'm not having a crack at anyone. It's basically because the main meeting for the week is the Saturday night at Melton, and always will be. Yet we've got these, one definite out-and-out champion, two up-and-coming horses that have just continued to deliver for the industry, and we put them on the night before on what's possibly an A- meeting. And I don't mean that derogatory to anyone. I love the Trotters. Anyone knows me knows that as well. Has our time come? Do we need to do more of what they've done this week with the Oaks and the Bill Collins Mile, Bill Collins Sprint, sorry, it used to be the Bill Collins Mile, on these feature nights? Do you think that the time has sort of changed now where we need to complement, just have good racing?
Yeah, it was interesting Friday night. There was no one there. There was no trot vision coverage. I was a little surprised about the lack of hype behind that meeting. Obviously, it gets tricky as to how many meetings you can do that with, and do you flood the market? But I was a little surprised. I think they probably would have been better off served up on the Saturday night, those three feature races, Queen Elita's race,
yep,
and the two Needs for Speed finals. I think they probably deserved the Saturday night feature, but I do understand what they tried to do to see how it worked. But if they were going to see how it worked, maybe they needed to, as I said, no cross vision coverage was quite a surprise. And there just wasn't anybody there Friday night compared to Saturday night. So interesting how they market that and how they go forward with it. It's going, I think, to be fair to HRV, that they're still really trying to find permanent spots for these races. It's still, even this year, with the Sires moving, the Platinum moving back, going forward for the 2-year-olds, we've got Catlows around or youthful stakes around just after the Breeders' Crown, and all those sorts of things. I still think that the programming department they're being very fluid. I know that they're talking to a lot of the bigger trainers about how to improve the situation. I know they watch all of the social media on what needs to be done and how they can change it. I know the October program was changed fairly drastically compared to what you would have seen from last October. But it's a moving landscape, and as long as they learn from what does and doesn't work, I don't think we can't complain too much.
No, and I think the other thing I hope they may have learnt, when you do have a feature night, as Friday night was, in all due respect to Mildura, don't run them at the same time, because it's just wall-to-wall trot races, and they probably need that little bit of time. They could have had Mildura through the day, and then let it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers, Paulie, but I don't actually tend to agree with you. I think that those double-header meetings gives the hobby trainer a chance to go away and earn some money. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mildura either.
No.
I can remember going back 20 years ago when we had a country meeting backing up against Moonee Valley, and those country meetings, the turnover was fantastic for them. So,
don't disagree.
Maybe
I don't
on a Saturday night, but
yeah, don't take it the way I said that. Sorry, I just think if it's a feature night, I love having the double ups, But if you're having a feature night where you've got horses like Queen Elida and those horses stepping out, and you've got the pressure of one extra race meeting in there, I think they need to, if they're going to stick to that all trotting night, go that way. Totally agree.
Well, I would have thought it would. I was very surprised that there was no top division, but imagine them having the feature meeting and also having the Mildura up, or whether it's a Chuka or Swan Hill or wherever it is. Imagine the Trot Division coverage. It would be, while the feature races might get lost a tiny bit, I think the Trot Division coverage with wall-to-wall racing, having somebody, and you've been the same, we've sat there and tried to, create content for 30 minutes between races, where if you've got wall-to-wall coverage, I think for the people that are tuning in, I think there's a lot more to watch, a lot more to listen to. And I don't disagree with those at all. And I think you find that it'd be lovely to know the figures, the turnover figures on how that works.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. But we're sort of arguing two different things. I'm saying for that feature night, to give those good horses, you and I both agree they probably should have been on the Saturday night. So that breaks that up. The Trot Division coverage and that's a whole different kettle of fish, and I totally agree. I think they're the nights that they possibly should be marketing and having them on Trot Division. But that's, again, just you and I talking, no one else listening. There's quite a few people on, but that's okay. Dwayne Cousins, he barracks for Collingwood. We don't worry too much about him. New Zealand, with their races and everything they've got coming up, they've got to increase stake money and all the rest. And they turn around, Dave, and they announce this race called the Trot Slots. Invitation only, $655,000. People buy a slot and all the rest. The scribes came out and they rattled off the usual suspects of horses that will be keenly sought after. As a trainer of a very classy filly who will get the draw advantage over a lot of horses and can handle tight tracks, how'd you go when you heard about this race?
I was absolutely rapt to hear that Campbell's comments had bought a slot and offered it to Rockham with attitude. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, Paul. I'm great you've used this platform to announce that the Campbell's comments has bought a slot. Actually, if Marie's listening, I'm in trouble.
No, she's out riding a horse, so it's okay. Don't worry, she's fine. I think they are anyway, so last I checked. I think it's fantastic. I'm not sure whether it'll be interesting to see how the 1 year slot goes. I just think that might get the big players to pull back. I hope it works for them. I think there's more at play why it had to be a 1 year, and I think that'll come to fruition after it. I don't think it's. I think a few people, like myself initially, but then I spoke to Dave the other night on the Talking Trotters show, and I think there's a little bit more behind it than that. So, of course, if you lock into a 3-year deal and guarantee X amount of money, they need to make sure all those things happen first. So, getting 1 year and getting that stake money, that's where it comes from. But it's a great concept. And as I said, a few people, they just rattled off the usual suspects, and rightfully so. Queen Elida, Just Believe, and those horses. But they could be going to Europe. For a filly like yourself, the Locomotive, Love Me Too steps around tonight. He's a local. He's trained just up the road. So many up and coming trotters. It's so much intrigue, isn't
Paulie, it could attract an American or a European or a second or a third stringer from over there, which, as we know, they'll be competitive with us. It really could start to bring horses this way. It's a 4 hour less flight to go to New Zealand than it is to Aussie, and it just might attract somebody you never know. Noel Daly's been down here and he's got good trotters. Chris Ryder. Brett Pelling, they just might want to bring one back down here to have a crack at it. So, I think the 3 year slot seems to work because you get the big players and the big owners have a crack. And I know personally in our situation that I can't see my big syndicate of horses, of owners that are, they're all small bit players, but I couldn't see them fronting up the 50 grand to buy a slot for her personally. But I'm sure that, the owners of Queen Elida, they'll be chomping at the bit. A horse like Olivici, same sort of thing.
Yeah, but Dave,
it's got to be great for the industry. It just hopefully it works.
But a syndicate can buy a slot and then they can invite you as their horse. And this is what happened last year with the Pacers. It got to the end, and I can't remember the name of the guys, but I do know Michael House was actually part of the group. Basically, all the good horses were gone. Their horse broke down. I'm trying to think who it was. And so they thought outside the square, and they brought in the Oaks winner. I can't even think of her name. It's Watt something. Anyway, if Emily's still watching, she'll tell me it. But and she was going to run third until she galloped with 50 metres to go. So the intrigue off that part, I think, is where it'll come into it. And fillies like yours, Glamour Stride, that's got brilliant gate speed. I'm just looking at that race right now. A horse like She's Ruby Rouge starting to come through for Jess and Greg Tubbs as well. It's very exciting, I think, for those to go Hole in the Wall Gang, and No Matter What was the name of the filly. So the Hole in the Wall Gang. They took a punt, Dave, and they took a filly. The Oaks winner from the year before. Manners weren't her strength, and they had a crack. So I think it's exciting. I think it could be really cool for the industry.
I totally agree. It can't be bad. I just hope it works, and I hope people, the bigger owners, when you look at some of the people that have bought slots in the Eureka, people like Wayne Later, who's had his own horse and waited until the last minute to see where the rip was up to going around. Danny Zavitzanos, who was very clever in the way he got Captain Ravishing early. Summit Bloodstock. These guys, I'm just not totally convinced that they're going to have a crack at a trot race. But, obviously Yabby Dams. I would have thought Yabby Dams would be the first in. Duncan McPherson's probably number 2. So, and they've got enough good horses to find a horse themselves. I just hope some of these other bigger bit players have a crack. And that's what worries me with just having the 1 year slot. But understandable, there's probably a lot of reasons behind it. But if anybody's listening, Kerryn's got plenty. She's listening. If you want to buy a slot and send me over, I'll be happy to go. I even let you drive it flat, just as long as you stay in the car, not like the other night.
My biggest one of the roast is going actually. My biggest worry, Miles, is it's on the same weekend as Nutrient Equine Standardbred sales here in Melbourne, so I can't do both. It's physically impossible. So I was very disappointed to see the dates. But anyway, we've got a condensed calendar now. Remind
me what the date was, Paul?
The 14th, April.
Oh,
April.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the 14th. Well, you've obviously got something.
Oh no. Well, I can probably tell you, Rocking with Attitude is going to hopefully get an embryo out of it this year because she was having a decent spell, and I probably wasn't having to have her back in working by the 14th of April. But we might have to rethink that.
Yeah, well, it is the 14th of April. I'm sure Emily will double check. She'll get back to me. She's actually watching. She is watching, so she will comment on that as well. So pretty exciting. Have you had a look at? You wouldn't have probably had a look at the fields for New Zealand. Gayleen McKinnon. Hello to you, Gayleen. It is the 14th, so I won't be getting a cuddle from Gayleen when I get across. I hope Marie's not listening, Dave. I will be in trouble for that one when I get across there. But so I won't be there on the 14th. I will get a clip behind the ear when I see her at the Rowe Cup, though. Don't worry about that. So it'll be fine.
If you're giving Gayleen a cuddle, I reckon Campbell's comments a very big chance of buying Rockland with Attitude to slot.
It is. You wouldn't have seen the fields. I love what's going on in New Zealand at the minute and the build-up. And this massive meeting at Addington on Friday night. I encourage everyone to have a good look at it and watch them if they can. But okay, I'm getting conflicted reports here. The 12th. Oh, it is the 12th. Yeah, it is, because that's a Friday night. So that's geez, I might be able to do that, Dave. Get back Saturday morning for the sales. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But have you had a look at it all at the fields for New Zealand?
No, I haven't. I'm Googling it as we speak.
It's an amazing meeting. I think the build up is outstanding. There's the NZB Standardbreds Cam Bray. I don't know if he's still awake or not. Probably not. It's probably past his bedtime. Over there, he's been locked in he'd been locked in a little room talking to himself all day, and he couldn't handle it. It's pretty funny to listen to that, Dave, I reckon. So. But yeah, it is a massive meeting with some really good horses standing out. But it's quite interesting when you have horses, and I'm just trying to find them: Self Assured, Akuta, Krug, BD Joe, McAndrew Aviator scratched, Mighty Louis, Kango, and Mosdale Ben, and they're a support act for what's a cracking meeting. I'm very jealous, but it's a ripper meeting, and I encourage people to get there and have a look at it. I love what New Zealand do. If you want to see what the feature races for the night are, they're in orange. I think that's something we need to incorporate over here. It's really good. But yeah, it's a big meeting of horses and some really high-class horses stepping out. So to watch this space.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through the fields as we speak, and it looks like a cracker, doesn't it? There's some great races on.
Yeah, there is. There's some really good horses going around. I actually did a preview and missed Merlin. That's how good I was going. Trying to see, he's stepping out in race 8, the 3-year-old Flying Stakes. And you rattle off horses like Don't Stop Dreaming, Sinbad. Then you got a couple of up-and-comers off the front. Wagstar was also I found out the other day. I saw the other day. Sooner the Better, Triple G, Bluto, Ultimedio, and Matt Markham, he actually pointed out to me that I might have missed a horse called Merlin, which was, couldn't believe I did that. So that's.
I saw Coney Island Lewin the other day, and it looked very impressive too.
Yeah, drew the car park, but it is a good field. It's great racing. So, Milesy, thanks for coming on, mate. Might have to do a live one day and just sit you there with the microphone and let you go, wax lyrically. I've noticed Joe Pace has tuned off since you've come on. Don't know how that works.
Yeah, Joey's probably off having constituency fatigue, so it's about that. So you can't let a Maltese, can't interrupt the Maltese in his food. So
he has to come out and have his coffin nail every now and then. So he comes on, he locks on every now and then, and he makes out he's not doing something else. And I had a few of the paces on there before. I'm just trying to say his horse went good the other day. I can't remember its name, Miles. That's what I'm fingering through very, very quickly to try and to find his name of his horse. But it was a good return to form for him. You're not even helping me, are you? Harry Stamper. Got it.
No, I'm letting you hang yourself, mate. You do a good enough job of that yourself.
Harry Stamper. Good to see him getting back into the winner's circle. So I know they had some big plans. There's another horse. They might be aiming to.
It was very good. A very good Saturday night. And there's another race that sort of got left. It was a great race to put on, a 4-year-old trot. They don't have many of them, and hopefully going forward they might have a few more. But he was very good, back to his best. And as we know, for the trotters, their 4-year-old years always are hardest. So the odd 4-year-old feature wouldn't be a bad thing.
No, Dave. Beck East has put a post up about. She put a thing on my post, and it's probably too late that she'll be still listening to us now. But for 2-year-olds, more 2-year-old races for 2-year-olds that have won, is that an issue? I don't. I do train them with Marie, but effectively we, she does all the entering and that, and we don't have any 2-year-olds anyway. So it's one of those ones. But I can't find. I'm going to have trouble finding it because I've got too many pages open here. But I think her comment was along the lines of, don't know why that one hasn't even updated. So that's very frustrating. Something along the lines of 2-year-olds, and there is no 2-year-old races for horses that have won 2-year-olds. Is that an issue?
It is, but I can tell you, in effect, listening. I had a very good conversation this week with Paul Ox about how to manage those horses going forward late in the season. I think the hard part for all of us to remember is that this handicapping system is quite new, and these guys are doing their best. And I know it's hard when races don't come up, but I've got a filly that's won two-year-olds, and she was. I missed the. I didn't. She wasn't quite ready for a open 2-year-old race last year, and then they opened. Last week, early last week, and then the 2-year-old race this Saturday night was deleted because it only got 5 noms. It is an issue getting late in the season about how we get these races to hold up. But I can say that the better trainers are in discussion with the handicapping panel and the programming panel on how to make it work. It is a slight issue, but going forward, we are, in conjunction with HRV and Ox, we are doing our best to try and make that happen. One thing that HRV doesn't do is they don't give 2-year-olds an advantage if they've got to race older horses. Trying to think about whether that's a doable thing. But yeah, no, it's a very fluid situation where we're trying to make things up as we go along, or the handicapping panel are trying to make things up as they go along. So there was an issue for about a week where there was nowhere where horses could race. And actually, in fact, if you had a horse that had won 2 or 3 2-year-old races, there was nowhere for them to race for over 3 weeks. So HRV are aware of it. For those of us that have those sort of horses, and Beck obviously has one,
yep.
It is an issue. But it does make it difficult. Especially, Victoria doing their programming only a month out, which helps. But there are always anomalies and certain horses that don't fit in anywhere.
No, absolutely. That's one of the reasons I said that, because if you train a trotter that's won 2 races this season, you'll know that there's no races for it, or there's a heap of races that you've got to nearly be at the coalface to be across what is going on. So that's why I thought, well, while I had you, you'll be able to tell it. It's quite interesting. In New Zealand, they've announced their new breeders bonuses, Dave. I don't know if you're across them, but it's $12,000, $8,000 to the owner, $4,000 to the breeder for their bonuses. But they're in 2-year-old only races to be able to win those bonuses. Because
there's some interesting things going on, Paulie, not only in New Zealand but Australia-wide. We've sent a filly to Tassie at the moment. She's racing down in Tassie, and she's had 6 runs down there. She hasn't run any worse than 4th, but she hasn't won one. And they're racing in races of 14,000. Now, when people here are listening to that, they go, holy shit, we don't even look at the Tassie programming. And don't look for the next. Hopefully ours wins this week, and then you can go if you like, because I'm desperate for it to win a race. But, Tassie do their best to try and get 2-year-olds down there.
Yep.
We took an average class 3-year-old with us this year to Queensland when we took Locking with Attitude, and I've made no secret of the fact that the owner got a cheque for $19,500 for winning a race at Marburg on a Sunday afternoon. Now that is just off the charts, and because of that, I know that my parents have sent a horse to Catch the Fire this year to make it dual Q-bred and Vic-bred. Pete McMullen and Chantel are doing a great job trying to find some stands. They've got a great little Captain Treacherous sire up there out of the Betters Delight mare who won 2 Sam McKee Memorials, which is, for want of a better word, probably not winning 2 Victoria Cups, but one rung under, two smoking up. So.
It depends on who you talk to. The Sam McKee is sometimes held higher than the Vic Cup.
Those races, they're held on Hambo Day, and
yep.
It's the free for all on Hambo Day, and Catch a Fire won 2 of them. Now, that's it's like, as I say, it's probably not like winning a Vic Cup because it's not Group 1, but it's the rung below it. So I think he's a serious horse catcher for him, and we sent him out there purely because of the breeders' bonuses.
His side, one of his yearlings went through the, I think it was the Little Brown
Ohio.
Jade. No, I think it was a Little Brown
Ohio
Jade.
sales.
Was it?
Yep.
It was it? Yeah, $225,000.
Yeah, broke the record for the highest price yearling ever sold at Ohio. Yeah.
Louise Toolman is on. I have my Harassed Trotters hat on, and Somerset Farms is above my head, actually, that black one right there. Geez, I'm doing good. I actually found it with my finger, Dave. I'm pretty impressed with that. They are also a standing classic connection, so with the trotting people up there as well, you get that Q-bred bonus, plus you can be Vic bred and go from that as well. And we've got a beautiful filly out the back, out of Lucinda Mack. So one, he throws a beautiful type, and two, a huge opportunity to get the dual bonuses, which your horse, I think, was, Dave. Was that right? It was
she was dual bred. Yeah, so she got a big bred bonus down here, and then she went up there and they have an extra bonus if you win a 3-year-old race and you beat older horses. So we put her in a race at Marburg that was an open race, and she got an extra bonus because she was a 3-year-old. But yeah, it was over 19,000 for winning a race at Marburg on a Sunday that the owner received. So the interesting part, as I said, Tassie are trying with their $14,000 $2 to get horses going. Queensland are having a red hot crack. New South Wales still do breeder certificates, which are really weird. You can get discounts on stallions, or you can take them to the sales and use them at the sales. And I know I bought a filly that won yesterday at Menangle, Tin Joe, for Danny's Avajanos, and I bought her at Bathurst, and he used his breeding certificates, and he basically got her for free.
Yep.
Because she won her 3 races in Victoria, and I said to Danny, listen, she's New South Wales bred, she's better off up there, and she's gone to Jason Grimson and done Amanda Turnbull first, and then Jason Grimson, and they've done a super job with her, and she's gone to another level. So it's interesting how those breeders' bonuses work, and how each state works, and how they try to attract different horses.
But this one, with the New Zealand one, so the thing I was saying to you there was that you get $12,000, $8,000 to the owner, $4,000 to the breeder, which in itself is just enormous. But they have to be in 2-year-old only races. But here's the kicker, Dave. This year there was only 82 2-year-old only races. Now, they will be races like the NZ Harness Millions, and those sorts of races will take into account those 82. So next year there will be 140-ish, I think, off the press release. I think officially it was 139, which was an unusual figure. Emily is still watching, so she will correct me on them. So we here in Australia and Victoria right at the minute, we worry about it. It is nothing, because I do a lot of the results in New Zealand, and you see a lot of them, it's nothing to see. There was a 2-year-old beat the older class trotters having its first start the other day down at Invercargill. So they sort of embrace it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but maybe sometimes we've got to change the way we look at things and potentially, just probably look a little bit outside the square of saying, because they are effectively 3-year-olds too right at the minute, like in 2 years ago. And these horses were bred to that time 2 years ago right at the minute, that they would be, they would be actually 3-year-olds now. And if they were a good 3-year-old, they'd be taking on the older horses anyway. So there is always two sides.
So understandably, Paul, you guys, and you're probably a little bit on the back burner of training a massive team, and
back burner. We got one in work. We got one in work, mate. There's no back burner. It's gone.
Yeah. So from a professional point of view, I'm the exact opposite to you. I will race my handy 2-year-olds against an old horse that's had 100 starts every day of the week. Oh. And I know hobby trainers are really struggling to deal with this situation where you've had a horse that's won one race, racing a horse that's won 15 races, but 9 times out of 10, the horse that's won 15 races got back to a 47 class because it's had its time.
Yep.
Now, I do get that people look at the stats and they look at fields and they go, oh, you know, my horse. I'm very seriously considering running a horse next week, a 2-year-old next week, in and up to 60 open race because I think she's better than them. But I know I'll be racing horses that have won 10 and 12 races. But I think my 2-year-old will be better than them. So it's an interesting situation. We have to adapt. We have to keep moving. I use this example a lot, and I remember Alistair Clarkson as a football coach when they changed the rules for the AFL, and he just said, it doesn't matter what rules they put in place, it's up to us to adapt to make them work for us. And I know that if my 2-year-old can get into a race against 6, 7, 8-year-olds, and I think she's faster than them, go for it. You know, and that's a little bit on what Becky said earlier about there not being many races, and I do agree that there wasn't many, but there are
options.
If you have a look at the October programming, they've taken the age restrictions off a lot of races. So it's a changing landscape, and the program, you just got to make the program work and the handicapping system work for you. And I do understand that there's times where you can't find the perfect race, but just wait, it will come.
Just for the record, David, albeit hobby, I'm not a hobby trainer because I'm not even a trainer. I'm a hobby. I don't know what I want to call myself. I was going to call myself a journalist, and then there'd be blokes falling off their tables at the minute, so that's okay. A full-time rubbish talker. I agree entirely with you. I've already raced 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds against old horses. It doesn't worry me one bit. It was 139. I was right about that. I believe we should do it. I believe when you look at the New Zealand model, this theory that it affects them, it doesn't affect them at all. The Kiwis embrace it. I think we should be too, because of the fact that you can manipulate the barrier draws to suit yourself, because quite often they're done on your form. Your barrier draws, sometimes they're done on wins. So if you've only won the 1 or 2 races and you're going through your classes, absolutely. And the biggest thing about it, the biggest plus to this, don't look inside your own stable, look outside of it. We need TAB turnover. So if David's putting a 2-year-old in against a field of horses that are in good form, and here's this 2-year-old that's in better form, albeit against 2-year-olds, that generates betting turnover, because some people will say the 2-year-old can't beat the old horses. Other people will say this 2-year-old's a jet, and it's going to be a roll-on effect. So that's where, as an industry, and people who need to generate more TAB turnover, which is not something that Campbell's Comments does promote, but we definitely need it, because the more TAB turnover we get, the better the prize money we get here in Australia. We need to do it. And as I said, the Kiwis embrace it. The part I was
if you have a look at last Sunday's Cranbourne meeting, I think they ran the first ever open maiden race in Victoria. It was 2-year-old or older, and a 2-year-old won it.
Yeah, you guys won it, or Charlie won it.
But as I say, and it was done on barrier draws, so the 2-year-old drew better, and she happened to win it. And I'm going to go back a couple of years in COVID, which was very different circumstances.
So before you get off that, so it was preferential barrier draw on age only. Is that how it did work, that race?
Yep, it was preferential draw on age. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
And the
2-year-old won it. The horse, I'm pretty sure it was a 4-year-old that drew barrier 8 that sat on the back and ran second. But yeah, that 2-year-old had come out of a Victorian size state final, but just hadn't been able to win. She'd run a couple of placings and hadn't been able to win. Now that 2-year-old went and raced 3 and 4-year-old, and was pretty dominant over them, to be honest. Now, some people might argue, that 2-year-old shouldn't have been in that race, but there are other people saying that 2-year-old shouldn't be racing older horses. So it's a very interesting argument where you can't please everyone all the time.
No. Can I just say, hang on, before you go back, you've got to say well done, because you've got to do these things, David. That was the lather up standing at Woodland Stud in conjunction with Lower Long Farms pace as well. So I have to look after my sponsors when I get the right opportunity. And not only that, but our Roki was also by Seaside, who stands at Woodland Stud. So sorry. Now you're right. I have to pay the power. I have to pay the power bill. So yeah.
I think there's a lather up related to our Roku about to fold. No, yeah, I'm not sure.
No, she folded the other day. She's not.
She did.
Yes.
No. She's on. Hasn't folded yet. The one that folded the other day was She's Always Dreaming. It was a Vincent, but no. I think she's Norma Jean is about to have a lather up. So there you go.
She's not. She's about to have a Sweet Lou.
Oh, which one's going to lather up? Must be. Oh
no, sorry.
No, I think it is. Anyway, one of them's having a lather up.
Yeah, it says no. It says no return, which means it hasn't folded yet. So yep, that's fine.
So let's go back to the programming issue, where I'm going to go back into COVID time.
Are you going to pay my power bill? This is the longest one I've ever had, I reckon. But who cares? I don't care. We've still got people on. Get involved in the show, so don't worry about that. So yeah.
Paulie, you open the can of worms, and good luck putting a lid on it. And there might be a couple of scotches involved as well. So good luck here.
I'm drinking water on air, and you're drinking scotches.
Going back to COVID times and talking about programming and how we can make things work is that in our area in COVID times we couldn't get a 2-year-old to stand up, and which was hard. The HRV had never been in that situation. Trainers had never been in that situation. We had 3 2-year-olds not stand up, and I spoke to Ox in the HRV office, and I said, "Listen, what's the chances of running our 2-year-olds against some 3-year-old maidens?" He goes, "Oh, people won't do that." He said, "It just won't happen." In the end, they changed their mind. They did it, and there were 4 of those run in our region. I don't know about the other regions, and the 2-year-olds won every one. I know a lot of I don't want to race my babies against the older horses. You've got one that's got ability. They just keep up. They are. Our horses have changed. They are faster than they think they are, and I do believe as a guy person that trains a bigger bunch of horses that our babies definitely keep up with the older maidens or even the older horses that have won 3 or 4 or 5 races that have had the time.
Mickey Gadsden is on there. He said there before that the 2-year-old winner paid $2.30 as well. So it turned out that it was a decent betting race as well. Mick Gadsden, they haven't got one this Friday night, but they have continued to do those in Mildura, Dave, up until just recently. I'm going to say, I won't put a figure on it, but I do know I have seen them still this year, the 2 and 3-year-olds. This next meeting that is on Friday, a big field of 12, and Mick's got quite a few drives. He's actually going pretty good, Mick and his team. I think he had a pretty good day at Charlton the other day. But it's a 3-year-old and older. There is no 2-year-old program, but I'm pretty sure just about every meeting they have a 2 and 3-year-old combined at Mildura still. So,
and I was to say, it's a matter of sometimes you have a horse that is, and it's up to the trainer to adapt and move with the times. And as I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but I remember Alistair Clarkson saying that you need to make those rules work for yourself. And we need to make the programming and the handicapping system work for ourselves. Now, sometimes that means getting on the road. I know we've got horses here. The young fellow that from me.
Broken up again. He's gone.
Yeah. If you want to travel 2.5 hours on a Monday, you go for your life. But or if you want to go to Terang, or if you want to go to Swan Hill Tuesday night. And there's times where we go, oh, geez, I just don't want to do that. Well, don't complain about the handicapping system or the programming if you're not prepared to do the yards. The horse in Tasmania that I've got, it's had to go to Hobart 3 of its last 4 weeks, and the person that's got it for me, it's been a 4-hour drive, and they've done it. So don't complain about it if you're not prepared to do the hard yards.
No, Mickey Gates and Amy from New South Wales is actually on too, so it's good to see Amy on. Mickey Gateson says they're the 2 and 3 year old combined, drawn on age and then wins. Works well up there. So so I think they've been. I think this meeting might be an anomaly. Normally they have them. It's just this next meeting coming up. They don't actually. They don't have them. I thought. I'm trying to find this race at Charlton. I'm sure it was at Charlton the other day. Mickey Gates, there he is there. Yeah. So here's the margins. Short half head, half head, half head. And Mickey ran 3rd and 4th, Dave. Just one of those races when you play at home, and he's had 2 horses. I don't think...
Well, I'm sure I was going through the Charlton meeting the other day because I don't know whether you're giving it the plug, but the Harness Charity Challenge has made me do my form a lot more this month than it usually does. And Mick took a couple there on Monday that had the trial. And he went, well, rather than trial them, I'll just take them to Charlton for a run. And good luck to him. You've got to be on the ball if you're a professional Twitter pundit, like I am this month.
I'm going to get into trouble here because I think Emily Wombell is actually Mick's partner. Just realised. So she won the race, and Mick has run 3rd and 4th with the other 2. So anyway, if I've got that wrong, it's okay. Lawsuit.
So that would be
send all lawsuits to dmiles@hotmail.com. It'll be
I can get myself in enough trouble without you helping, Paulie. Thank you very much.
It'll be fine. But I think that's why, because I'm sure I saw it on Mick's social medias, and I'm thinking, he's had a fair day there. I reckon that's how that's worked. So I apologise, Mickey, for not being 100% across it, but well done, as always. Hey, Milesy, thank you.
I just looked at the phone, Paul. It's only been an hour, so I'll expect a check in the mail.
I've been streaming for 2. I start this show at 6. It's 8 now. I thought I'm going to have an early night. I said to Maria, it'd be right, I'll have an early night. I'll get the show done and go from there. There may not be a show next week. I'm going to Chinchilla. Where's my camp draft at? I'm actually going to Chinchilla to do camp drafting, Milesy, so we won't be on location next week, but we might be able to do a couple. I've got a few people wanting to go to New Zealand with me as well, so you never know what will happen. But there may not be on Loose Lines. The other 2 shows definitely will be, Talking Trotters and Over the Ditch. If you want to know all your New Zealand form, tune into Over the Ditch. Matty Markham definitely knows his stuff, so I'd encourage people to do that. Dennis Howe, hello to you, Dennis. Hope you're feeling well, mate. He's on there, great man from Mataranka Park and Wagga. Do you go to Wagga much, Miles?
I haven't been. The prize money is very... I won the Wagga Cup. The only time I've been to Wagga on the old track, I won the Wagga Cup. But a little horse called Wind Me Up. But I haven't been to the new track. It looks a bit strong for me on a Tuesday afternoon for the $9,999. That Harness Racing New South Wales have been very clever to utilise and get the good horses there.
I saw last week there were 6 Victorian trainers snuck across the border. There won't be any this week because guess what? There's no Wagga. Unless it was yesterday. But anyway. Hey, Milesy, thank you.
Good on you, Polly.
No 1,200 metre races tonight for you?
No, I was pretty lucky. We got 6 in tomorrow night at Kilmore. That'll keep me busy enough.
Yeah, line and length there. I saw that. You didn't go there. Beach Hopper won race number 1. Neil Donnelly. There's a great name from the for the trots. Andy and Kate.
Great Neil Donnelly.
She's Elite. Johnny Newbury. Beck Eastman.
Perfect drive for Matty. Absolute superb drive.
Oh, that was before you come on air, so you saw that one. Or you might have been watching it all. Paris Abbey for Alan Tormey. We talked Charlton. We got Alan Tormey as well. You were going to say something smart then. You just come up for breath for a second. See Me No More for Snooze. Beat our...
Snooze is on fire. Double last night at Chep. Another winner tonight at Melton. Team's on fire.
And who won race 5? No one, because
it's on in 1 minute, Paulie, but if you want to hang around for a little while, I'll tell you.
No, I'm happy to call it a day. Don't worry about that. Mick Gadsden hasn't come back either. So, yeah, but I encourage people, 8:30, tune in, watch Love Me Too. Hopefully I haven't put too much pressure on him. He could probably get beaten. He's taken on the older horses, but he's a beautiful trotter.
Is that the guy with the porn star Mo, Dylan Ferguson?
No, Ismo's okay. There's a few others that are a bit ranker than that. We might have to do that, Miles. We might have to get some people to come on board and sponsor us for Movember, for November.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
100%.
Get involved. That's a bit easier than running and riding 200 k's. I can tell you that. That was no good. So, all right, D Miles, thank you. Thank you very much.
Paulie.
Thank you very much to everyone else that's tuned into On Loose Lines. I'll be back. Well, definitely in 2 weeks. Might be back next week, but we'll just see how it goes. But thank you very much for joining me. I think he's still on the line there. I'll talk to him in a second. See you all next week. Don't worry about that. So, yeah.